This video is going to be about the Caravan incident and how it would be handled through a Pan-American type of thing. Now, I don't want to get like people that go back in time and Renaissance fair freaks and whatnot and go, well, if we lived back then, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is the machinery for Pan-Americanism is in place. In fact, we see it every time there's a summit of the Americas, okay? But the fact is this, okay, first I want to put this out on the table. When people say that these people are refugees, they're not refugees, okay? This is a horde of people that have invaded Guatemala and Mexico and have attacked the authorities of both Guatemala and Mexico. And in fact, the Mexican authorities have told people, be prepared to handle people with Molotov cocktails and things like that. I'm also not against putting the U.S. military on the southern border, or the northern border for that matter, but on the southern border, and the reason why is because the sovereignty of the United States is muy importante to the citizens of the United States. Now, how this would be handled in a Pan-American type mindset is this. What people don't understand, now, what I see on Twitter is I see a lot of liberal morons go, well, we should just let them in. They're just people fleeing poverty to come to the United States for a better life. The fact of the matter is these people should not have to come to the United States for a better life, and they wouldn't have to if Pan-Americanism was properly explored instead of being used the way it is, okay? So basically, how Pan-Americanism should function is that these other countries in Latin America should receive investment. There should be an encouragement in the United States and amongst all American nations to invest in each other and trade with one another, okay, which would create economic opportunities in these countries. Now, this would, of course, help relieve poverty, but also there would be a socialist type nature to this with the use of things like the Peace Corps, and not just the United States, but all countries in the Americas would be encouraged to work together, and they are, but not to the extent that needs to happen, to basically help countries that are not doing so well. Now, the problem is the United States is basically the economic monster of the Americas, and it should act that way. The problem with the United States is it's never actually invested thoroughly in other American countries, and if it has allowed the corporate entities, the capitalist, globalist entities in the United States to do it in a corrupt manner. Now, I'm going to attach a video in the description of a Mexican gentleman that explains why illegal immigration from Mexico is such a problem and how it is not what people think it is. But the problem is the way that investment in the Americas by the United States has been corrupted by capitalist globalism. Okay? But furthermore, people want to talk about how, Venezuela, okay, there's a crisis in Venezuela that has been brought on by basically by Castro-style communism. Well, this would not have been the case, and like I said, I don't want to be one of those people that goes back into imaginary nonsense, but this would not be the case if Pan-Americanism was explored properly and there were better opportunities in these regions. There would not be enemies, communist enemies of the way of the United States, basically right in the Americas, if Pan-Americanism was explored properly to begin with, primarily by the United States. That's where the failing comes from, is because it's being seen as a way to exploit other countries instead of a way to promote prosperity through. Basically, what you need to do is promote peace through prosperity. Now, what's interesting is the United States, instead of having chosen to buy oil from, say, Venezuela or other countries in Latin America or use our own oil, we've propped up basically Islamic extremist dictatorships and things of that nature. And beyond that, instead of investing in, say, goods and services through, say, Peru, Mexico, Guatemala, etc., we instead have invested in China, basically a country that's known for committing massive human rights violations, okay? So basically, instead of ever truly exploring Pan-Americanism, we have invested in other countries that are completely the polar opposite of U.S. values. And what's even funnier is Cuba, for example, which is a country that's not in sync with the United States value system. That was one country that the United States helped become, helped become a communist dictatorship, okay? So how it works is this. In order to, the United States should disinvest from countries like China and start reinvesting, and also disinvest from Europe, and disinvest from other countries, like Israel, for example, and start reinvesting that money throughout the Americas and try to promote peace through prosperity.